stealing the snare sound of one of the most iconic rock producers ever. Next on Music Surgery with me, Dr. Bob. Hey, before we get started, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified of future videos. Also, there are tons of great samples from my personal library below in the description of every video. They're all pay what you want. And lastly, if you want me to work on your music, hit me at drbobmusicsurgery@gmail.com. So if you've listened to rock music in the last 25 years, you've heard this snare sound over and over and over. How does Brendan O'Brien get that great ping on a snare drum? Watch this. All right, you guys, good stuff this week. I'm working with a very hard rock Soundgarden type band, and they love the Brendan O'Brien snare approach. So I thought I would dig deep into that and learn a bit more about it for myself, but also kind of come up with my own way of doing it. Obviously, back then when he was working, it was more consoles and outboard gear and all that, and now we're with plugins. So let me play you this and let me show you how to get that type of snare. And I'm talking about the one, kind of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Soundgarden, real pingy, just incredible, strong ping, but forceful. Here we go. So there you go. You get it. A good ping, but forceful. So let me show you. This is the first. I've got 3 tracks of snare here. So the first one is, we take all the stuff off of it. This is the first snare. It's this snare right here. It's the new Fusion kit off of the Easy Drummer line of Easy Drummer 3 line of add-on packs. Just came out, called the Fusion. So that's that. So what I've done, the first thing I did is add an SPL Transient designer and take all the sustain off. Then some decapitator to give it some distortion. And then some smack to make it even more attack and less sustain. And then what I've done is I've put it in this reverb room that's the British or bright CLA snare. So this snare alone is this. Now, a really big, amazing point here is what a room can do with just a little blip attack. Here's without the room. And with the room. The second snare I've got is the exact same snare. This one. But now what I've done on this one is I'm concentrating on the ring out. So the SPL Transient Designer is all sustain and no attack. So after the attack, it's bringing up that ring. The second thing I did is I got rid of even more attack. So now that sound is kind of going wah wah. And the third thing I did is I put some MV2 on it to just kind of smash it some more. So, and none of that is going into a room. So very importantly, I've separated the ring and the attack of the snare, kind of dissected the snare in half. So we have the attack, the ring, and together. You'd never know that it was cut in half and treated that way, but you really want the ping, like Brendan O'Brien almost said Conan O'Brien. My bad. You really want the ping to be controlled separately from the attack. Now, because that snare's a little thin, I also combined it with a snare from this pack, which is the Big Stage pack, which has a very throaty sound to it. To give it a little more, it's about 180 in there. So here's without that, and with it. So really, knowing the frequencies of the snare that you have and what might be missing and adding that in, it's almost like you can't really EQ it that way because there wasn't that much throatiness in the other snares. So I needed a throaty kind of punchy snare to add in with those. So now obviously I can overdo the reverb. I mean, I'm just playing a loop here, but sounds cool without the room too. But that's it. A really cool way to separate the smack versus the ring, add some throatiness in, and really kind of go for that Brendan O'Brien, just really cool, pingy sound that he got on a lot of those records. What a great producer. I mean, underrated in my opinion, even though he's done so many popular records and we all know who he is. Jeez, what an amazing just approach to drums in a real kind of grungy rock era that was really, really cool. Well, there you go. Obviously, the sound source is a big factor in this type of sound, but controlling the attack and sustain of a drum like this is mandatory, as well as how much of that ring do you want in your reverb. Thanks so much for watching. Give me some comment, love, and a thumbs up below. And hit me at drbobmusicsurgery@gmail.com if you want to say hello or you want me to work on your music. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you the next time the doctor's in.